So Tyrese Gibson was arrested yesterday in Fulton County for failing to pay child support. Apparently, he owes $10,000 or has owed $10,000 per month since I believe early 2023. And the judge at this point during the hearing decided to find him in contempt of court. And he was promptly ushered off by the Fulton County Sheriff's Office and incarcerated. I believe he's been since let out, but you guys know that he has a 5-year-old child with a woman that he was married to for about 3 years. She is apparently from Fulton County, Georgia. She filed for child support, and Tyrese has been ordered to pay $10,000 a month. And if you add that up, of course, that's $120,000 a year. I want you all to keep in mind that child support is meant for the child. But this woman, like many other American women, have figured out that they can use that child support for whatever they want to use that child support without being checked. So many women are now using child support as though it's alimony. Now, more likely than not, she didn't get much alimony because many of the southern states, unlike many of the liberal states, California, specifically notorious for forcing men to pay child support through the duration of the woman's life, even after the divorce. I believe New York is very similar to that. Florida just did away with it, and so alimony is no longer. When I say not child support, I meant to say alimony throughout the duration of the divorced woman's life. So that way they end up having to pay lifetime alimony. But women have figured out that if they just get enough child support, they can live off of that and be fine. The crazy part out, if you don't think the child support is disproportionate, you should first consider the fact that the average American male, and I'm talking about the highest earning demographic, makes about $51,000 to $52,000 a year. And so if you're paying someone $10,000 a month, that is $120,000, which is twice as much as the average working man makes in America, which lets you know that that far exceeds what's necessary to maintain a child. Keep in mind, that's for a child. And because Tyrese is unable to pay that $10,000 a month or refuses to pay that $10,000 a month for child support, then now he's been held in contempt of court and incarcerated. The thing is, we all know the system is unfair. Men know that when they walk into a family courtroom, the odds are stacked against them. The judges favor giving women custody of the children, especially when the children are small, unless there's some emergency circumstance, like she's been deemed an unfit mother because she's incarcerated, she's a drug addict. But even in those situations, oftentimes the mother's it's still a very tedious and difficult and expensive process to convince the court that it is in the best interest of the child to be in the father's possession. And so you already go in there with your hands tied behind your back. You already go into the family law courts with preconceived notions and presumptions that you have to rebut, that mom is the better parent. Now, I want you to contrast Tyrese Gibson's situation with what 50 Cent is going through. You all know him as 50 Cent. Some of you know him as Curtis Jackson. He's one of the executive producers of Power. He's doing big things in Shreveport right now. Well, he has 2 children by 2 different women. The first woman he had a child by, this is way back when, I recall, it's probably 2005. It's 2024 now. And I think his oldest son is an adult. And apparently 50 Cent was giving his baby mother, child support off the books. And then she decided to petition the court for a higher amount of child support and end up getting less. And so he's held her at that level for a while. You often hear back and forth between him and his oldest son complaining about the fact that he still needs help because they see this man doing very well and they feel as though they're entitled to that. That's unfortunate that this grown young man, instead of attempting to benefit from his father's wisdom and learn how to run his own business, and I'm certain from what I've read, 50 Cent has given his oldest son every opportunity to try to, come up and benefit and learn the business and learn the skill and be an earner on his own. But the young man has basically rebuffed that and said that he basically wants handouts from his dad, and 50 is not going for it. And after a certain time period, every adult, every father, every mother, every parent gets tired of freeloading children. We see it happening all the time. But I want to contrast that. And so 50 Cent has been down this road before of dealing with these baby mamas and child support. Somebody type baby mama in the chat room. Somebody type baby mama drama in the chat room. But now 50 has another son. This young man is, I believe, about 5 years old. And 50 had this child out of wedlock. And apparently 50 is now suing her for $1 million and has petitioned the court for full custody. And I believe this is based on the allegations that came to light when Sean P. Diddy or Puff Daddy Combs' home in Miami was raided. Apparently the Federal Bureau of Investigation found some video footage. She may have been doing something that was inappropriate. 50 Cent and his lawyers got together and decided that, well, this is going to be a great opportunity for us to try to petition the court for full custody because it's in the best interest of the parents, best interest of the child. Now, I want you to compare these two baby daddies. So this is basically the tale of two baby daddies. Somebody type the tale of two baby daddies. On one hand, you got Tyrese Gibson, who's a well-known entertainment actor, star, who is passively allowing the system to just work him over. And this is not his first child. This is not his first rodeo. He has another child, and so he understands how this family court system works. Yet and still, instead of taking a proactive, aggressive stance and seizing every opportunity to try to keep his child's mother on the defensive, he's waiting around. And he's getting hammered because all she has to do is sit around. She has nothing else to do all day than sit around and think about how she could get more money out of him. This is what her law firm is doing. How we can get more money out of Tyrese. There's a big old pig over there, and we're going to slaughter and roast him, and we're going to get more money out of him. And we're going to hold him in contempt, and we're going to make his life hell, and he's going to pay. And the law firm is going to get a cut of that. On the flip side, you have 50 Cent, who took this totally unrelated incident where Sean Combs' home was raided. And I don't know anything about the woman, and these are all allegations. As far as I know, there's been nothing confirmed in the press. But the bottom line is she may have been involved with P. Diddy in some of the scandalous activity. That's what the allegation is. And so because of that, you have a situation where Curtis Jackson looked at that and said, well, this is going to be our opportunity for me to get custody of my youngest son. Now, what is that going to do? First of all, it throws her on the defense. He's suing her for $1 million because she said something derogatory to him, and he filed a defamation lawsuit. So now on one end, this woman is now forced to defend a defamation lawsuit. So you got proceeds and money being spent on a defense on a case where you're not going to get anything in return. So there's nothing in it for the baby mama. Okay, but she is now being put on the defense. On the flip side, now he's saying, I'm going to also use this information that I have to put you on the defense by actually petitioning the court to change custody. These are two different mindsets. One is, let's keep this baby mama on, let's try to go along to get along. Somebody type go along to get along. That's the go along, get along attitude when dealing with the baby mama. And on the flip side, you got the aggressive, I am going to use every opportunity to truncate your ability to try to take an advantage of me and get more money from me by using the reins and the system, the family law system. So here's the thing. 50 Cent knows that he's going to continue making money, and he knows that this woman has probably another, and depending on where the child was born and where the custody proceedings are pending, If he's in California, he might have to pay child support all the way up until the child is 21. Most states are 18 years old, and then you cut them off unless they are emancipated as a minor, or they, graduate from college, typically high school. But in some places, you have to pay all the way up until they're 21. And so 50 Cent recognizes that I don't want to pay this woman for another decade and a half. I don't want to have her have the opportunity to get the child support increase for another decade and a half. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try my darndest to get custody of my child. And that's what he's doing. And by doing that, he's taking a proactive role, and he's using the family law system in a way the same that women often use it. The reason women oftentimes have the advantage is because there's a rebuttable presumption that they're the better parent. But you can begin to contravene that rebuttable presumption if you start, in your individual case, you begin to find things that they do and bring them up to the court, especially if you have different sorts of a custody agreement in place. So let's say, for instance, hypothetically, your child's mother was supposed to bring your child to you on a particular day at a particular time, and she failed to meet the obligations of the custody agreement. Then what you do is you put it in writing by sending an email or a text message. You screenshot that or you print that, and then you go ahead and file a motion for contempt, okay? And you file that motion for contempt because she failed to do that. You get your court date, you set your rule date, you get your court date, and you haul her into court each and every time. And so what you're doing in effect is building a record of lack of adherence to the court's order. So at the point where she then turns around and tries to petition the court for more money, you can say, well, Judge, I have 4 to 5 incidents where I've been forced to hold my child's mother in contempt of court for failing to adhere to the custody agreement. And so because of that, the judge is going to look at it and say, well, ma'am, you haven't been complying with the custody agreement. You're not in compliance now. We got motions to contempt and motion for enforcement pending against you right now, and you have the nerve to try to increase child support. You're not adhering to what I say. Look, you can piss a judge off in several different ways: showing up to court late and not listening to their judgments. Because see, if judges like cases to be finalized. They like everybody to understand what's going on and people just to start following the rule of the case, which is the rule of law that binds the two individuals. And if you have one party who's constantly breaching that and not adhering to that, then you're going to upset them. There's a record that's being built. And so in doing so, you have a proactive, you're proactively attacking this baby mama, all right, which is what Tyrese should have done. He should have, instead of hoping that she doesn't come down like a falcon out of the sky and swoop you up like a rabbit looking around left and right, he should have just went on the attack. If he had gone on the attack and began to put her on the defense and begin to call her out for her behavior, whether it's being late to pick up the child, late to drop the child off, not adhering to the strict requirements of the custody agreement, then, you got to put them on the defense because you're already at a disadvantage. The last thing you want to do is get caught up in a situation where now you're in court complaining about everything she hasn't done, but she has the paperwork. The matter is officially before the court. And that's the only way you're going to get an advantage. You fellas have to understand that if you have money, if you have power, if you have status, these women are looking for you. They're looking at you like you're a target. They recognize you for what you are. These law firms are looking at you as a source of money. And so unless you begin to take a proactive offensive role instead of just sitting back playing defense, then you're going to get handled in these court cases. It's not going to be pretty. You're going to get milked for attorney's fees, for arrearages. And on top of that, the fact that these people are famous, and that's another thing that we can draw a distinction between 50 Cent and my man Tyrese Gibson. Arguably, 50 Cent is as famous or more famous than Tyrese. But what you clearly see is 50 doesn't care what you say about him. He doesn't care about the so-called bad press. Oh, you're a deadbeat dad. How could he do that to his baby mama? He doesn't give a rabbit's foot. I don't say rabbit's foot. Somebody typed rabbit's foot in the chat room. He doesn't give a rabbit's foot what you think. He's focused on the money. He's not trying to be a gentleman. He's not trying to be cooperative. He's not trying to be understanding. He's forcing the court to adhere to make sure that his rights as a parent are enforced, and his rights as a citizen not to be disparaged in public through defamatory or slanderous statements is adhered to. That's what he's doing. You see, and some of you guys, you approach these relationships with a heart. You approach it like, oh, that's my baby mama. You're too romantic. You know, you're too sentimental. You start thinking about the good old days. She's not thinking about the good old days. She's thinking about her bank account. She's thinking, if I can get an increase in child support from $10,000 to $15,000, I might be able to get that Birkin bag in the next month instead of having to wait 3 months. That's what she's thinking about, okay? And she's also, a lot of women also like the fact that they can be in control of you and your purse strings, of you and your wallet. They like that. They get off on that. Never assume that women are going to adhere to their better angels when they're not being forced to. That's just like any other human being. Assume that human beings will do what's in their best interest. And it is in this woman's best interest to try to hit Tyrese Gibson for every dollar she can while this child is young. And if he is destroyed as a result, if his reputation goes down the tube, if he's incarcerated, if he's put in jail, then, you know, oh well, it is what it is. This woman actually, his child's mother, actually has a YouTube page somewhere, and she's attempting to be some sort of red pill female content creator, which also lets you know just how chameleon-like many of these so-called female content creators are. They're just saying what they need to say so they can get paid. And that goes across the board. Now, some of them may be genuine, but for the most part, you're dealing with chameleons. On one hand, she's telling you, giving you, spitting back red pill knowledge. On the other hand, she's doing the exact thing that has drove so many people to what's called the manosphere, a black manosphere. It's drove so many men who to not want to get married, to not want to have children. She is the problem. She targeted. She used hypergamy. She adhered to her hypergamous instincts. She targeted a high-value, money-making man. She popped the baby out of her. It's the same old game. And now she's trying to hit him for all she can in child support court. But I want you guys to understand something. And I'm going to say this again. This is the tale of two baby daddies. Okay? On one hand, you got 50 Cent, who's taking and Tyrese Gibson. 50 is taking a totally different avenue as far as dealing with his child's mother. He is not passive. He is suing her not only in family law court, but he has also sued her in civil court for $1 million for defamation. She's over there like, what? This is not how it's supposed to work. He has totally flipped the script. He has literally done jujitsu on her. She thought she was going to grab him and extract resources from her, and then he flipped the script, and now he's threatening to grab resources and from her and take the child away. So, you know, fellas, you can kick back and be easy and fall in love and be romantic if you want to, and you will be poor and you will be broke and you will be living in your car like so many other men who led with their hearts instead of their minds. You men, often, most American men, you're too soft, you're too nice, and this is across the board. You're too kind, you're too understanding. You're still caught up into that chivalry situation. And at the end of the day, when the divorce is filed, when the family law papers are filed and served, you are in a war. And you have to treat that other person, that person who has given birth to your child, that person who you've shared all these wonderful times and experiences with, you have to treat them like they're an enemy combatant. At least until the relationship, at least until the paperwork is finalized. And at the point where it's reoccurring, you know, she wants to increase in child support, she's back to being an enemy combatant. And unfortunately, we live in we use an adversarial legal system. This is how we petition for divorce. This is how we get child support. And as long as it's going to be adversarial, because at the point where they begin to try to take money from your pocket, which is far far in excess of what is reasonable, then you need to understand what it is. It's a come up. It's a scam. And there's nobody in America who is going to tell you that a child needs $10,000 a month to live and exist. A 5-year-old child that's perfectly healthy needs $10,000 a month to live when the average American man brings home $52,000 a year. That's ridiculous. And we all know it's ridiculous, and we all know it's a scam. But because the various attorneys general and district attorneys around the United States under Social Security Administration Code Chapter 4, because they derive a benefit from that, a financial benefit from collecting attorney's fees, right? And not collecting attorney's fees. They have a certain portion of their funds being matched from money that they collect in child support. They're never going to give it up. It's big business. It's big business, and as long as it's big business, as long as the government is reaping a benefit from it financially, they're going to keep enforcing these laws. And so you have to recognize that when you're dealing with family law court, there's an incentive of the state, and there's an incentive for your former lover, baby mama, child's mama, ex-wife, to try to attack you. So you're dealing with somebody who knows you intimately and the government. And so you have to be proactive. You cannot be passive when it comes to defending your income, especially when it comes to family law. They're going to want copies of your bank statements. They're going to want copies of your tax returns. They're going to get all into your financial business. And every 2 years for many states, every 2 years until that child reaches the age of 18 and the child support is terminated, they're going to be able to go in and amend that custody agreement. And so you have got to be prepared to defend yourself. And if an opportunity arises wherein you can put that person on the offense and get custody of your child, or if you can put that person on the offense and get money from them for things that they've said, go ahead and do it. All these libelous and slanderous statements being made by these various baby mamas across America, you screenshot that from her Instagram or TikTok page, you save that video, and you find yourself a civil litigation attorney, and you go ahead and file a lawsuit for defamation. That'll, number one, teach them to shut their mouths. Somebody type "shut your mouth" in the chat room. Somebody type "zip your lip" in the chat room. You'll convince them, number one, to zip that lip and keep your name out of their filthy, sullen mouths. And the other thing you'll do, you might mess around and get a money judgment in it, and then you can start collecting. So every time your child support money hits their bank account, you can go in there with your debt collector lawyer and seize it. So you're just recycling black dollars. Praise God. And I'm saying this in jest, but I'm serious, fellas. You got to get a lot tougher. You got to get a lot colder. You got to make sure, and they call me the Blizzard King for a reason. This is the cold, hard truth. The odds are stacked against you. The odds are stacked against you as a man. The odds are stacked against you when you go into these family law courts. The odds are stacked against you if you're the one who makes the majority of the money. They want you to pay. The government wants you to pay. The government wants to extract those resources from you because they know if they give it to that lovely lady who you've been dealing with, she's going to take that money and throw it right back into this economy, this consumer economy. She's going to loosen up those dollars. The studies show that men save more, women spend more. And if she knows the money's going to come for the next 18, 19 years, man, she's going to be out there starting businesses and giving money away to relatives. Hell with raising that child. Are you kidding me? They don't keep track of what these women do with the money. There's no itemized breakdown of everything the money is spent on. She might not spend $1 on your children. Heaven forbid she have other children. She may be spending the money that you pay for your child on those other children that she's had with some other guy, some Pookie and Ray Ray who's in and out the penitentiary who can't afford to pay. You paying for his child too. You got a bowl of cereal, you got a bowl of cereal too. You see what I mean? We're going to Disneyland, going to Disney World. Yeah, we're all going. And baby daddy number 2 is going to pay for it, or baby daddy number 1, whatever. But the bottom line, fellas, is if you get caught up in the situation, it's unreal. Look, it's unrealistic for us to tell men don't have children and don't have families. Because as long as you're having sex, As long as you're having sex with women who are fertile, at some point, just the frequency of the times of the occurrences means that at some point these women are going to get pregnant. Now they might not get as pregnant as often as when you're intentionally trying to impregnate them, but at some point there's going to be pregnancy. Pregnancies are going to happen. That's how the human race has continued for thousands and thousands of years. And so because of that likelihood that it's going to happen, we need to stop trying to tell men don't have children. That's just not feasible. The laws are not going to change. What we need to be doing is telling men how to protect themselves. And you got to go proactive. You got to go smash mouth. You got to go 100. You got to blitz every opportunity. You seize on it. File your motions for contempt of court. File your enforcement. Any little thing. If you memorize that custody agreement back and forth, you make sure your email button, your fingers are hot and ready. You make sure you monitor her social media pages. At any point where she says anything disparaging about you, you get your defamation lawsuit filed. I don't care if it's a small claims lawsuit that you can do on your own. Oftentimes, those limited jurisdictions have a $10,000, $15,000, sometimes $20,000 limit. If she goes in there and starts talking bad about you, let's say you're a truck driver. I can't believe that he's a truck driver. They don't know he get drunk every night. Well, you know what? That affects your employment. That statement undermines your credibility and your competency as a truck driver. And that there is defamation per se. You don't even have to prove damages in many states. All you got to do is show that this is what she said. This is the email. Bam. If she says it to somebody on the telephone, you get that person who she said it to testify as to what she said. Fine. Social media allows women to snitch. I mean, we got women snitching on themselves all the time. All you need to do is go ahead and file that defamation lawsuit. And then you can use that and parlay that into child custody, because oftentimes these custody agreements say that there's an injunction built in that says the parties are not to be talking negative about each other in front of the children. And so if she's making these disparaging statements about dad in front of the child, then that's another reason for contempt of court. And you just keep pounding them and pounding them and pounding them with this litigation. And after you do the first couple of motions of contempt, you won't even need a lawyer for it. You just work your way through it. You keep on filing. You be relentless. You don't fall. You don't quit. And at some point, the judge is there'll be a track record, and she'll be shut down in court because that public record is there forever. So again, when we compare 50 Cent to Tyrese Gibson, when we compare Curtis Jackson to Tyrese, it's one avenue that wins, and it's another avenue where you sit back and you just get hit and punched. It's one avenue that has been proven to be successful. It's the heartless, cold-blooded avenue, according to most of what the simps and the lovely ladies can say. But look, nobody's going to feel sorry for you. People are laughing at Tyrese. Women are saying, well, you're a deadbeat dad. You should have paid. So why would you care what they think anyway? They're going to laugh at you if you suffer, and they're going to talk bad about you if you become proactive and be aggressive. What would you rather have? People cheering against you, mad at you for booing you because you're winning, huh? Or booing you because you're losing? You got to make a choice. Either way, baby, this is Uncle D. I love you.